Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. It is a new week, and that means we got some new updates inbound for Black Ops 6 and Warzone, at least partially. It's a rather strange week upcoming because it seems like there have been some sudden delays in some specific content. Plus, we also saw some delayed patch notes drop from late over the weekend as well. You may recall towards the end of last week on Friday, we ended up seeing a surprise update go out that addressed a few things across Warzone. It was actually exclusively Warzone patch notes, at least to begin with, because a few hours after they dropped those Warzone related patch notes, they ended up updating the entire game with new patch notes. So we weren't able to cover these initially because we just dropped what they announced back when the update went live, but we do now have full updates across multiplayer, zombies, some global stuff as well here that wasn't mentioned in those original patch notes that I want to catch you guys up to speed with. We also have a few other additional announcements that the devs have given us over the past few days as we look ahead to what to expect this week as well. So here with the June 6th update, a couple of those global things we did actually have in those original Warzone patch notes, including them fixing rapid fire on the AK-74, some blueprint issues on the FFAR-1, then also some operators now not properly showing on the screen, some issues with camos being duped. That was an exploit. They did close part of that, although definitely not all of them, because I've seen you guys commenting still, hey, I can do this camo on this gun and whatnot. So I imagine we'll probably have more close an exploit that allowed players to do camos in the future, because that's the real important stuff we should fix, right? Definitely. And then also some issues with an LC10 blueprint. But then we jump into some multiplayer updates. They did address an issue where players would see an icon next to match-made players' names instead of their level when queuing into a match. So this was that missing icon bug that they called it a few days ago. They said they were looking into that, so they have now fully updated that. Now when you load into a lobby, you should see the correct level and name for anyone that's going to be on your team or the enemy team. It won't be a mystery that you got to solve with Scooby and the gang to figure out who you're playing, which is just loading into the match, then they'll show. Then in zombies, they write us a novel, which is interesting here. So they say, thank you to everyone who's been diving headfirst into grief. It's been awesome watching your videos, reading your posts, and playing along with you. We're focused on moving quickly to make the mode even better and have identified several changes for today and upcoming updates based on player data. First up, melee spam. We want melee attacks to stay relevant as a mechanic to mess with enemy players, but it shouldn't be the meta. We're taking our first steps to address this by reducing the amount of flinch when hit by an enemy player melee attack, making sure melee attacks from the same weapon won't apply a new stun and slow until that previous stun is over. Next is the length of matches. Our target ceiling is around 30 minutes, and we're seeing some matches last well over an hour or two. That's quite the commitment to play a match of grief. So we got some updates today. We've increased the number of kills required to charge Ether Shroud and Healing Aura, so they'll be less reliable as get out of jail free options when your team is in trouble. And we have other changes in testing to make later rounds deadlier. We're also planning to reduce the amount of salvage in play to prevent support stacking, as well as ways to prevent gobblegum spam and further limit the number of craftable self-revives. Third, we want to make all our griefs feel impactful. We're working on the best ways to increase the griefiness so that weapon carousel isn't the only one you're afraid of, and to incentivize more players to capture those zones. Look for those changes in a future update. Thanks for playing. So in grief now, they've updated a couple of things, significantly reduced the flinch effect when hit. Repeated melee attacks no longer apply a new stun. Ether Shroud and Healing Aura field upgrades now take longer to charge, 240 for Healing Aura, 180 for Ether Shroud. Address an issue where players could occasionally lose the ability to use their weapons after weapon roulette. I saw a lot of complaints about that, so good news there. Weapon roulette now grants players appropriate weapons. Address an issue where wonder weapons could unintentionally be brought into matches, another big fix there, and reduce the number of map icons outside of the grief arena. So some smaller patch notes and some game-changing patch notes here as well for BO6 in general. We also, like I said, have other announcements and other reveals for upcoming updates and fixes from the devs too. And just a reminder, as we're going through everything here today, some of the upcoming changes and other updates that are already live that have been announced, and then what to look out for this week. If you guys are new to the channel, you want to make sure you are always in the know for everything going on in COD, whether it is news, updates, patch notes, meta breakdowns. It's all right here on a daily basis, so feel free to hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications, and if you enjoy this video, a like rating is always seriously appreciated as well. Next up, another pretty important update that went live over the course of the weekend here, when those patch notes dropped and when that update went live last Friday. While yes, it clearly fixed some things and updated some things that we covered, it also broke the game again. Surprise, surprise. After that update dropped, there was a ton of reports of players having their games crash and even blue screen their computers. Luckily, COD Updates was pretty quick to address this, saying a recent issue that resulted in PC players encountering crashes when launching Call of Duty has been addressed. Thank you for your report. So if you're running into those blue screen issues, those crashing issues over, those few hours when this update was live before they fixed this, that now should be fully addressed and fixed. COD Updates also is reporting on a few new things that they're going to be updating here soon. It seems like potentially later this week with any surprise patch notes or changes that go live. Of course, like I mentioned, I'll keep you guys informed, but they do say we are investigating reports that the rapid fire mod attachment does not operate properly on the S6 Model 07 when combined with certain other attachments. So if you've been trying to mess around with some Model 07 attachments, some S6 builds here, you'll probably notice that sometimes they can be a little bit buggy. They are fully aware of that. Hopefully that gets fixed here soon. And they did update this even further because it's still a pretty annoying bug. In case you missed it, we're still investigating reports that some players are unable to equip the monolithic suppressor on the new LC10 FFAR and also now the S6 Model 07 as well. So the monolithic is broken on all the new season 4 guns. Hopefully this is one that gets sorted soon. And I also know it's not broken for everyone, which is kind of strange. I've even had it where one game I'm playing, Lazy in my squad was like, hey, wait, my monolithic works now. And I was like, oh, that's sick. Wonder if mine goes. I look on my FFAR, can't use it. I go to my LC10, I could use it. We played another game. I back out to the main menu to remind myself to put it on the LC10 and it was locked again. So I don't know what's going on with this. It's super buggy. Some players are able to just use them though outright. And if that's you, I envy you because your builds are more optimized than mine. But they are looking into this. They will update this soon as well, which is good news. Now, here's where things get a little bit weird for this week. We can expect some hotfix updates, maybe some gameplay changes, some of those aforementioned bug fixes. However, this upcoming week was also supposed to be another content update here per the original Season 4 reveal blog. In their events category, they detail how originally the ballerina event was only set to last until June 12th. However, per the in-game countdown timer, we now know that's been extended by a week. This might have to do with the whole delay that Season 4, added in for Season 5 when they extended Season 4 by 2 weeks and delayed the launch of Season 5 seemingly. But originally this was supposed to end on June 12th. It shouldn't be now. Instead, it's lasting an additional week. But also the Rivals event was supposed to start on June 12th and last until the mid-season update. However, it appears, according to some data miners, that that's not going to be the case. Reality UK ended up posting saying the Rivals event and the Double Weapon XP and Double XP event now begin on the 19th of June and the Double XP ends on the 24th of June. So it does seem like they might have pushed that back. Unless we see a full update in game that actually shows the card saying event coming soon for the Rivals event, it does appear this was pushed back, which I won't lie is a bit of a bummer because this event reward was going to be interesting here. They say enemies become allies in the Rivals event when Stitch brings his code cracking expertise to help uncover the real names of the final Pantheon moles. The goal is simple: prove you're the most proficient operator by earning XP. So it's a very basic event. It's an XP event, which is not exciting, but there is decent rewards. Unlock a plethora of impressive free items. They're really gassing themselves up here. Dominate your enemies and become the first to unlock new rewards, including the Strider 22 3-round burst mod, which I'm really curious to see how that'll work for a close range option here. Then also the Grim Reaper score streak in multiplayer. But as of right now, those, just like the rest of the events, could potentially be delayed until the 19th instead. So pushing that back a week. We'll have to keep our eyes on this. Obviously, I'll keep you guys informed if anything does change here. And then lastly, just real quick, wanted to check up on the Trello board here as we usually do with our weekly preview videos on Mondays. They have updated this a little bit since we last talked. Obviously, they are still looking into the whole issue with FFAR, LC10, everything not working there. They updated it to say the S6 as well, as we mentioned on their tweet here. But we can see all the fixes scheduled here, several of which have been on here for some time. Also, the Friday patch notes mentioning the grief weapon on roulette being disabled, or sometimes you lose the ability to interact with stuff. Fixed scheduled, that should now fully be out, so they do need to do some updating here as well. But plenty of these fixes are scheduled that have not been fully fixed or fully updated quite yet, so hopefully we do see some progress on these. Like I said, very possible in the coming days that we see some surprise updates go out, maybe some scheduled things as well. So as we see anything new revealed or announced from COD or pushed live in game, I'll be sure to keep you guys informed, so feel free to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date. And if you guys enjoyed this video, a like rating on your way out would be seriously appreciated. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.